My name is Daniel. I work as the transportation specialist and I schedule the drives for clients and schedule the routes for the volunteer drivers. The rewarding aspects of this position is a very easy answer to give. It's a great feeling that I'm giving back.
My name's Phil Marshaldon. I've been driver for the CAP for about 6 months. I think every driver can tell you that they've heard from the clients themselves that a lot of them they're so appreciative.
It's just been hugely impactful for my life to have people that care, even though they don't have to. But a lot of them have personal experience with cancer and they just care about me, a young girl who's unfortunately got this terrible disease, and they haven't just done a job of dropping me off and picking me up. They've become friends. They've cared for me, they've cared for my family, and they've just shown so much compassion that it has made this journey as a whole easier.
The other side that's the not so fun part is typically making the phone calls in the mornings to clients on a wait list that we don't have a drive for them. At times there are up to 16 or 17 calls a day that I have to make to clients on a wait list to let them know that we don't have a driver for them. Unfortunately, that's just because of the demands that we have. We have a huge number of clients that need our services, and we don't always have volunteer drivers who are available.
So there have been several times that I have been waitlisted for a drive with the drive desk and not been able to get a ride. And that sucked because it means that I have to be responsible. So that means either getting a family member. My brother lives in Toronto, so he has to take the day off of work and come here and take me to my appointments, especially if it's chemo, because I'm pretty useless after those appointments. So that means he either has to take the day off work to come get me, or I have to get a friend of mine to get a day off work, or I have to take a cab.
The tension on those phone calls is rough, to be very generous with it. It's heartbreaking. There's times where clients are in tears on the phone with me. There's a lady who I spoke to last week, and she was in tears by the end of the call because I had to tell her it was a wait list. And I had to try not to give false hope, but I wanted her to know that we would do whatever we can. But sometimes it's just not possible.
I can get 4 or 5 people in a day, which is quite a bit. And I start pretty early. Sometimes I'm leaving my house at 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and picking people up. And getting home at 6 o'clock sometimes.
We're asking some drivers to come in, an extra day a week, extra 2 days a week. And it's hard to ask them that because they have their own personal lives as well. But I know that they're going to say yes because they know it's a good cause and they understand that. But it's a hard ask at times.
I thought that they had enough drivers. I thought that, it was a process that was already kind of taken care of and I was just sort of joining a team. And the longer I've been here, I've been realizing that there's a shortage, that there's a big demand and a big need for everybody at every stage to help out because the need's growing.
We have a client who lives the far side of Stony Creek, and for her to get a taxi in before she started with our service was around $70 or $80 one way. There's been times where we can't take her to the hospital, so then I'm always aware that, hey, that's now costing this client $160 or so round trip.
We really have to be careful ourselves because it is such an emotional toll. And if you're doing 2 days, like one day I go home and I'm just indifferent, I think is the word. But if you did 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row, I think that would be really, really hard. If we started to lose drivers or weren't able to meet the demand, I'm not sure that we would have a CAP. I'm not sure that the CAP would really exist because that's pretty much the backbone of what we're doing.
My hope for CAP over the next 30 years would be that CAP would be able to expand and just serve many more people who desperately need this service in our community.
Unfortunately, there will be a need for the future. CAP and the services that it provides, if you look at the statistics with cancer, there's more cures, people are living longer with cancer, but the incidence of cancer is rising. So CAP is going to be needed.
We need people in the community to know that CAP is here. We need organizations outside of CAP to support this organization, to become sponsors, to become corporate donors that come in and can fill monetary needs that the organization needs. CAP is not an organization that spends a tremendous amount of money on marketing, on promoting itself, because all it cares about is servicing its clients. My hope is that it is around for a lot longer than 30 years, because cancer is not going anywhere.
If I could talk to anyone who got a cancer diagnosis today, I would say, I am so sorry this has happened to you. Nobody should have to get this news, and it's devastating. You are in for the fight of your life. You are going to have to decide how much you love yourself and how much to pour into yourself, because this is going to take everything you think you had and more. Take care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually. And I will say, there are more resources around you than you know exist. Look into them. Do not feel guilty for using them. They will help you in this fight.